How much money is in the freight brokerage industry? How much money can a freight broker make? What is the most amount of money we've seen someone make in their first year? We'll answer all of the above, plus some bonus tips to help you optimize your income quickly. I'm Benjamin Kowalski with Freight 360, where we provide the latest transportation sales tips and training videos to help you reach your goals faster. So, how much is the freight brokerage industry worth? Well, the 3PL market was valued at over $212 billion this year in 2022. Now, the national average salary for a freight broker in the US is $62,000 per year, with an additional $28,000 per year in commissions, making that a total of $90,000. Now that will give you some idea of really what the average brokers are earning per year. Now remember, this isn't the average first year income of a freight broker, but the average income of all freight brokers at any experience level. Now, back to the market for a moment. $212 billion is a very large pie. And there's a great line from the movie War Dogs if you've ever seen it. Jonah Hill says, "Look, everybody's fighting over the same pie, but they're ignoring the crumbs. I live on the crumbs, and the crumbs can be worth millions." Now this is what I've always felt was a great analogy for our industry, because most brokers that come into it, they think you'll need to have either the largest or the most well-known customers to make any real money in our industry. And that really couldn't be further from the truth. Some of the best customers I've seen were the ones that no one had heard of. Small to mid-sized shippers that, care about their customers and they care about delivering their products on time. Those can be some of the best and most profitable companies to work with. I've seen customers that ship fish food that no one's heard of that have generated over $250,000 in gross profit in a year. I've seen brokers that make over $400 a year shipping the orange cones and the cans along, the highways during road construction. Now, what each of them personally takes home would be specific to their individual commission structures. For instance, a W-2 employee would typically expect to earn 15 to 25% commission on their weekly gross profit. An agent, on the other hand, would make anywhere from 40% to over 70% in commissions. The major differences between the two are salary, training, and support. As a W-2 employee, you'll receive a guaranteed salary or income, and will likely have paid training as well. Now, as a freight agent, you have no guaranteed income or training. You'll also be responsible for your home office, your taxes, insurance, and a few other things. For more on the difference between a broker and an agent and what they make, check out the video link above for freight broker commission percentage that Nate and I just did. Everything you need to know. So, what is the most amount of money we've ever seen someone make in their first year? Well, myself personally, it was over $1 million in gross profit. Now again, not take-home commission. Their take-home was about 25% of that $1 million. And is this typical? Absolutely not. But it is certainly possible. And I've told this story a number of times. So if you've listened to our show, you've likely heard me tell this story. It was a broker that worked with me at one of the large big box brokerages. This guy was methodical about collecting leads and prospects wherever he was. It was always top of mind, right? If he was sitting in traffic and he saw a shipper on the side of the road, and there were trucks lined up at that dock, he had to make a note of it in his phone. If he was shopping at Home Depot over the weekend, he would look for the SKUs or, the little barcodes on the empty shelves. Why? Because they were the most likely shippers or products that were having supply chain issues. But his big break came from a trip to a Publix grocery store. For whatever reason, a bag of lettuce caught his eye, and he took a picture of the label. The next day, we're sitting there prospecting, any normal day, and his first call to that prospect just went unexpectedly well. Very well. I can still remember it. The load planner that answered his call was just having a terrible week. A lot of their scheduled loads had been given back from their other brokers and carriers. And she was in a really difficult position because she needed those loads to go out that day no matter what, right? And because if they didn't, there was a really large risk to her company that that entire truckload was going to spoil and be worth next to nothing or absolutely nothing, right? So he was really in the right place at the right time. And she gave him the opportunity to cover those loads for a fair market rate. And he jumped right on the opportunity. And that one shot, right, turned into over $1 million in gross profit in that first year. It later grew to over $2 or $3 million a year in gross profit, if I remember correctly. Now, what are some of the takeaways? And what can we really learn from this example? First off, of all of the top performers I've had the pleasure of working with, working next to, or personally coached, they have all had the following in common. They put up consistent number of prospecting calls every day of every week. Because the more times you put yourself in front of a prospect, the more you increase your odds of finding the right prospect at the right time, right? Also, none of them ever stopped prospecting, no matter how large their books of businesses grew to. And that became very, very important over time, because no matter how large your book is or how great your relationships with your customers are, there's always the risk that it will go to zero. Companies are acquired, they're sold, people get promoted, they get fired, they leave, they go elsewhere, right? And if you're not constantly adding to your prospects in your pipeline, I can promise you this, time is slowly working to take them away. The other major thing they have in common is being very competitive, whether it be competition against their previous selves or others in their office. They are all driven to do a little bit better than they did yesterday. And whatever you can do, whether it be creating goals for yourself or creating some friendly competition with others in your office or other people you know, is going to go a tremendous way in helping you stay motivated every single day along your journey. It's definitely not easy, but it is simple and it is straightforward. And if you're putting the work in consistently, that is making the calls and the follow-up phone calls every single day, you'll find yourself amongst the most successful brokers before you know it. For more tips and training, be sure to watch our weekly podcast on our channel and check out the description and the links below for more on group coaching and private coaching. Because remember, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right.